And this is my next project here. This is a Bilt chipper shredder that does not run. This belongs to my neighbor here. We're going to see if we can get this back running for him. It hasn't run in about 1.5 years. He said he tried to start it this fall and didn't start. And now we're in the middle of the summer here. Going to see if we can get this back running for him. Really nice machine. This is a 3-inch chipping capacity, which is in this chute here. It also comes with a bag here, which I'll show a little bit more about. You can put your limbs in this hopper here, and in this hopper here you can put your other twigs and whatever to shred. It has a Briggs and Stratton horizontal shaft engine. It's 1150 series, which is 11.50 gross torque engine here, 250 cc. Got a choke, it's got a throttle, and it really smells like really old gas in it. Looks like it has some gas in here, almost full. But you can really smell just old gas from the carburetor here. Really nice heavy-duty machine. This is the side chute here where this bag attaches, and you can collect all the debris that comes out of this. This hopper here can be adjusted down by pulling this pin here and folding it down, taking the spring out. These tires were flat on it. I had to put some air back in these so I could roll it around. Let's see if this serial number will come out here. And this model and serial number, if that comes out. Really nice machine. This came from our local home store, Lowe's, here in this area. Let's just try to give this a start as is here. Pretty hefty engine to pull over here without electric start. Let's take it off stop here. It's already on choke. Feels like it's kind of sticking. I'll have to see if it's actually working by taking this cover off. Let's just try to start this as is right now. See if it'll do anything. Here we go. There's a monster engine to pull over. Yeah, we got nothing. That noise is coming from the shredder part, which gives the engine a little momentum to turn over. Let's put a little carburetor cleaner in here and see if it'll try to do anything, just to check, make sure we got spark. We're going to take this air cover off. And this is where the dipstick is on this machine. Let's check the oil in this as well. Appears to be full, which is good. In fact, it's running out of the hole, so that's good news. And we're going to take these 2 screws out here to get the air filter cover off. And look how clean this is, and the air filter. It's got one of those pre-filters in the cover as well. All this is really clean. Set this aside. We're going to put a little bit of carburetor cleaner in here. Let's make sure this choke is opening and closing. It is. So let's spray a little carburetor cleaner in here and make sure it is firing. Alright, let's give it a start here. Here we go. attempted to start and it looked like it was going to keep running, but it didn't. Let's keep putting a little bit of carburetor cleaner in here and see if we can get it going here. If not, I have to take this carburetor apart. And after trying to push through some carburetor cleaner in here a number of times, this is about all I can get it to do. Put it on choke here. It'll attempt to start and cut right off. That engine's a bear to turn over. So we're gonna have to take the carburetor apart on this. We're pretty sure we got something plugged up. Definitely is firing. See if we can bring this Bilt back to life here. Bilt chipper shredder. And we're gonna have to take the carburetor off and clean it on this Bilt chipper shredder. We'll first start by taking off this air filter cover housing, 5/16" bolts on this. And there's our carburetor now exposed. Also had to take off this choke mechanism that was in the breather housing. Just going to let that lay to the side here. And we're going to put a vice grip on the gas line here, and we'll get out our linkage, which is got a tension spring and our linkage here. And looks like 2, maybe 3/8" bolts here for the carburetor to get that off. First going to get the gas line stopped here. Got the gas line off and pinched off with the pliers. And these are 10mm bolts here holding this carburetor on. So let's get those out and then we can get that linkage out. And the carburetor is now free now. Let's see if we can take the linkage off here. We're going to take this little wire off. Not sure I even have to use the pliers on this. There we go. And now we can just tilt this linkage out. And the carburetor is free now off the Bilt chipper shredder. Let's clean this up and take a look at what's inside here, plugging this up. And here is our Bilt chipper shredder carburetor here, cleaned the outside off. Now let's take the bowl nut off and see what's inside plugging this up. It's a 1/2" nut on here. Oh, it wasn't very tight, surprisingly. And there's a little bit of trash in there. Doesn't look too bad. And looks like the float is not stuck. So something's plugging this carburetor up. So let's get the float and float pin out. And it actually doesn't look too bad. So let's clean this up, see what we can find plugged up in here. And if this comes out, there's a partially blocked hole in this bolt nut jet here. Other than that, this carburetor is pretty clean, so we're going to clean everything out and do a reassemble on this carburetor. And now we can see the hole in this little jet. It was partially plugged up. You also need to run a pin through the bottom of this as well. That's the only thing I could really see wrong with this carburetor, just partially plugged up. And now we're ready to do a reassembly. I've cleaned out everything in this carburetor with the pen as well. We'll start by reassembling the float and the needle into the carburetor here. And now we can put in the float pin. And now we've got the float and float pin in. Now we're ready to put the float bowl back on. So this carburetor is now fully assembled, it's clean, and the only problem I found with it was a partially blocked hole that was in this bowl nut. So I think we've got this corrected, so we're ready to reassemble this back on the Bilt chipper shredder. And we're ready to reassemble the carburetor back on the Bilt. We'll go get the linkage on first. And now we'll get the little tension wire back in. And this mounting plate needs to go back on this carburetor here. And we'll get one of our first bolts in here. And the last thing we need to do is to put on the fuel line here. Carburetor's bolted up, linkage is on. And we'll cut the gas on here. Secured the line with the fastener here. Don't see anything leaking, which is a good thing. We're ready to put the air filter cover back on, as well as this choke mechanism as well. So the air filter cover is back on, and the choke is working, connected up. We'll go ahead and put the air filter in. And the carburetor and air filter is fully assembled now. Let's give it a start. Let's put it on choke. Got it about half throttle. And here we go. First start on the Bilt chipper shredder after cleaning the carburetor. Warm up a little bit here, but that sounds great. Down a little bit here. It's like we brought this back to life. A good cleaning and a follow-up video.